Great evening and welcome to my late chat show. So tonight I have a very special guest with me. What I mean special means this person has been a huge inspiration in my life. Also someone who helped me along my journey in public speaking, overcoming my fears, becoming the person I am and the speaker and the host I am today. And it's all down to this one person, Tony Fasulo.
Thank you, John. That's a brilliant intro. To be honest, you're making me blush.
Well, that's the truth, because, and for those that don't know the backstory, which I will go into now, is I had a fear of public speaking, and it was something that I wasn't comfortable with. Although I did workshops and training, I was okay, but there were still elements of fear every time I stepped on stage to present. I always felt nerves and butterflies, and my words wouldn't come out. I would feel a lot of, how should I put it? Just fear in general of the judgment, the eyes, where I'm looking, my body gestures, where I should stand on stage, how I'm standing on stage. Am I just like swerving around, leaning backwards and forwards? That's how I used to speak. I swayed a lot. And I had mentors like Tony and Carla, people from Toastmasters that pointed out, Jono, make sure you stay planted onto the ground. And I was just like, stay planted. So nowadays, I don't even move from the spot. That's how terrible it is.
I think. Can I just add there? Your listeners here, I think you're being a bit disingenuous. You had the talent. You got the talent. You just had to let it out. That's all. So, yeah, we nudged you a little bit along your journey, but the work was all done by you. Let's be honest. Come on.
There was a lot of nudging that needed for me, especially the times when I didn't show up to Toastmasters meetings, right? I'll show up for 1 or 2 meetings for a month, and I'll disappear for like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, there was a pattern there, I must be honest. I would came back and look at you now. So
I'd appear 1 or 2, and then I'll disappear for the next few months, and then I'll be like, I'm back again. Hi, these new people and new faces.
You were a bit stop start at the beginning, but after you got into it, I think you had to. I don't know why. You maybe had to overcome you, to be honest, because we could see the talent there. It's just you didn't see it.
I was still playing around with the fear, and I wasn't acknowledging my potential and my greatness. And I was going through my own self-discovery journey, that path, figuring out what it is I want to do and who I am in general. And that journey just clashed with Toastmasters at the same time. But I'm grateful that you guys all kept me accountable and always welcomed me back whenever I did come back.
Yeah,
because otherwise I wouldn't be the area director for the area this year. I won't be able to support you and all the other club presidents in Toastmasters in our area this year as well, especially during this new online times.
I know, different world, isn't it?
So this makes sense because this online world is my world, so I'm very used to it. But it's supporting everyone else that's not used to it, which is again my strengths and where I'm able to support and provide my knowledge and expertise to help everyone. But anyway, Tony, welcome to my show.
Thank you for having me on. What did you want to attack me with questions or anything?
Attack you? Tony. Not that mean on the show.
No. You're one of the good ones.
I'm one of the good ones. I wonder who the bad ones
are. Oh, there's some out there, trust me.
So, Tony, for those that don't know what you do, how did you get into motivational speaking and public speaking training, coaching?
To be honest, I many years ago when, we're talking probably, look, I'm 21 now. And it was 100 years ago, it feels like. No, it was a long time ago when I had hair. It was a while ago. I was in an audience at the NEC, and there was this guy who came up on stage, and his name was Bill O'Brien. Sadly, he's passed away. But he wasn't anybody famous in the motivational world, but he was a great speaker. And he just said basically that, hey, you sitting here, you watching, you can do this, you know. And I'm going, what? What, me? And I thought, there's thousands of people in here. He's talking about me. He goes, yeah, you sitting in your seat, you can do this, you know. And I thought, oh, really? Can I? And it just sort of resonated with me. And I thought, could I really? Little old me, I was only young at the time. Could I do what you're doing? And it just planted the seed, and that seed was festering. And I thought, maybe I could. What if? But then, like a lot of people, you sort of, as you've echoed already, your fears take over, and you think, nah, I'm not good enough. It's not really, I'm not, you know, look at all my faults and everyone else is better than me, and nah. And you're talking yourself out of it, but it's all up here that's stopping you from succeeding. And it's when you overcome this that you realize that the talent's in here, then the world's your oyster. And it took time, and I remember somebody along my journey said to me, look, you should go Toastmasters. And I go, toast what? What the hell's that? I've never heard of it. I'm like, what the heck's Toastmasters? What's that? Do you know what? I honestly thought Toastmasters was like Morris dancing. You know those people that do with little bells? I thought, is it that? I had no idea. None at all.
Well, my first impression was, do we practice toasting? Like, here's a speech. It's like,
yeah,
that was what I had in my perception when I first came across my first Toastmasters mentor, which was Andy O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in London.
Oh,
and he was like, I'll take you to London club, to one of, he was at the time, I think he was an area director as well, or divisional director, or district. I can't remember what rank he was, but he was like, oh, come to Toastmasters and practice some public speaking, and you know, enhance your communication skills, and it will do good for you. And that's when I first encountered Toastmasters. And I was like, well, going into London all the time from Milton Keynes is a bit of a trek to go Toastmasters.
Yeah.
Which led me to Eldergate Speakers, which you was at the president for at that time. And you was also the first person to say hi to me at Toastmasters.
Oh, really?
Yes. Every time, well, at least the first time anyway, it was you that greeted me at the doors and goes, hey, I'm Tony. Welcome to Eldergate Toastmasters. Is this your first time? Enjoy your stay. La, la, la. I was just like, yeah, this is not my first time, but this is my first time here.
Okay.
I was the shy little kid that you met back then, obviously.
Yeah, because but the thing that struck me was, even though you were, I mean, we're going back a few years now, even though that very first time, I can't remember, did you actually do a table topic?
I think it was the table topic, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he did a table topic, and at first we thought, who's this shy young man, you know, but you could tell you had a story to tell. And people needed to hear that story. And I thought, ooh, this is a rough diamond here. This is a rough diamond. With a little bit of polishing, you know, something special can shine here. And yeah, look what's happened now on your journey. Fast forward, boom, 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 boom. Look at you now. Well done. Hey, I applaud you.
Thanks, Tony. Thank you very much.
Oh, brilliant. But yeah, I mean, just for your listeners as well, and viewers, if no one has ever heard of Toastmasters, or I don't know if you've mentioned it before in previous shows, this is a plug. Come along. Honestly, see people grow. And Jono is a case in point. He was there at that first meeting, a little bit shy, a little bit reserved, unsure. And now look at this, hosting his own shows. He's now area director. He's got the area director. No mean feat. So do you see what I mean? Toastmasters allows you to blossom, and this is what's happened to Jono.
Can I count myself as an award-winning speaker as well now? Because I got
Oh yeah, you
Toastmasters.
have. Yeah, you have. Yeah, you have, haven't you? And you got voted Toastmaster of the Year as well. So
I did. I'll
you
show
did.
them on the show.
Yes, you did indeed. See, Toastmasters does that. For those listeners who are still watching. I know he's not here now, but Toastmasters helps you to grow. It helps you take those little incremental steps up and up and up and up and
So
improve.
this one's
And
the
look,
most improved speakers. You can't really read it because of the reflection.
Mm.
But this was the most improved Toastmaster of the Year, which was 2018 and 2019.
Mm.
So it was only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then obviously last year was Toastmasters of the Year for Eldergate speakers. Again, reflection, can't see it, but never mind. I'm sure some people have seen it when I posted up the photos previously.
Yes. So see, well done for that. And that is your journey as you're progressing and improving all the time. And that's what Toastmasters does. It can do that for everybody that wants to grasp it, but you've certainly grasped it, and onwards and upwards, things are progressing really well for you. So I applaud you.
Thank you. And you too. You've got your own radio show now.
I do have my own radio show. I'm on Seclo Radio, for those of you who've heard of it. It's 105.5 FM on a Sunday night. So I must plug it while I'm here. Why not?
Go for it, Tony. Go for it.
I share the stage with a friend of mine called Teo, and we're called the TNT Talk Show. And we just talk about what's current, really. But we do touch on topics that other talk shows don't actually cover. So we can be a little risque at times. So, but tune in if you get the opportunity. Even if you go on Google, you can find us. Do the TNT Talk Show will crop up, so you can find us there too.
Wow, check that out.
Yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun. But obviously, my passion really is like you, John. I like to help people, and I do like to talk from stage, because when you're talking on stage, there's more energy in the room, isn't there? But online, it's a good substitute. You can still do the same. You have to be a bit more. You have to work harder, because obviously the energy is not there as you would in a room, but you can still project some energy via the TV screen. Strangely enough, it does work.
We draw energy from the crowd.
Yeah, you do. But if you've got a lot of faces there, it still works even on screen. But you have to work harder in order to generate that virtual energy, so to speak.
Absolutely. It's not easy to be behind the camera.
No, I know. I mean, I've got set up behind me as well, like you have. But you have to do this sort of thing now in order to reach out your audience, and that's what we do. So.
And thank you all for tuning in, by the way. If you got any questions regarding motivation or any training or speaking, we got Tony here, so fire away, questions, go for it. Like, just because I don't have questions doesn't mean the audience doesn't, right?
Well, yeah, anyone can.
So organizations that you worked with, Tony, with motivation, with speaking, how has that been for you?
That's been good. I've enjoyed it. I've spoken to quite a lot of people in different crowds, several hundred people in the audience on many occasions. I've also done corporate training for people to improve their way they come across on camera, because obviously we're on TV now. We're in this little box, and we have to come across well and get a message across. And so many people, unfortunately, don't know how to do it. There are techniques, there are ways of doing it, and we obviously cover that as well as all the other fluff that I'm involved in as well. So that's it, really.
You palm it off as it's like it's easy.
Well, it's like any. It's not. I'm not saying it's easy, because you get used to it, and when you've done it often enough, it does become second nature. Like, I mean, yourself, you drive a car. People drive a car. They don't think about driving; they just drive. But when you first start, it's very deliberate. You're driving along, you're having to focus on the gears and look in the mirror and look behind you, because you've not done it. But the more you do it over and over and over, and it becomes second nature. So you just drive without thinking about it. And speaking, I mean, you can speak to friends face to face, can't you, without any issue? And speaking is the same philosophy on stage by taking that one-to-one relationship and just bringing it on the stage. And I know a lot of people are going to go, oh, Tone, no, you don't understand. It's all these eyes looking at me. And it does, it freaks people out, doesn't it? It's the eyes, the eyes. But you've got to realize it's a simple trick, and this is for your listeners as well. If you're on stage and you've got all these eyes looking at you, don't look at their eyes. Don't. Look at their eyebrows. They can't tell you're not looking at their eyes because they're too far away. And you don't feel as freaked out. And you can actually relax a little bit more. And then you can be the real you. And that way you can overcome some simple fears if you're speaking to a group of people. Don't look them in the eye. Look at their eyebrows. Simple tip there. I charge thousands for that. There you go. Got that free.
Oh, wow. The audience has got that for free, you know? So.
Who's that asking questions here?
Hi, Kirsty. How's it going? Great evening. Great evening, Ian. Tony, hi.
Hello.
So with France and Germany announcing the lockdowns, the UK is likely to follow at some point. Business owners such as myself have been put through the mill. I'm a quite motivated guy, but sometimes it can be difficult to get going. How would you motivate business owners to keep positive with so much negativity?
Well, where's the negative coming from? Is it the media or is it the people you associate with? Hang around the right sort of people. We're weird, us humans. We absorb all the stuff that comes at us. So if you're exposing yourself to negative stuff all the time, it's going to have an effect. It's going to affect you in a negative way. So you need to sort of put that to one side or push it to one side and only look at it in small doses. You need to immerse yourself with positivity, because that positivity will then help you to be positive, which then in turn, you can then help others to be positive. You have to be the beacon, you have to be the light, but you can't afford to drain yourself. You can't be exposing yourself to negative all the time, so you become demotivated. You've got to remain high, so you've got to watch things like this, for instance, read positive books. I'm an advocate for that. Read every single day, minimum 15 minutes. I tell people that all the time. You need to have good stuff going in here, because then you're building a shield effectively around yourself. So even when negative does come, it's bouncing off and not getting inside of you. That way you can stay motivated, and that energy can then be passed on to other people, so you can lift other people too. I'm not saying it's easy, but if you work at it, you can do it. I hope I've answered your question. Sorry, I wobbled on a bit there, but hey.
No, that's all right. I think that's very decent advice, especially for someone like Ian's caliber. He knows what I'm on about.
Yeah. I mean, it's saying with France and Germany announcing their lockdowns, and yeah, we will possibly be locked down in the UK as well. But it is what it is. You have to. It's what life does. Life has ups and downs. We all have ups and downs. And at the moment, for most of us, this is a down moment. But it will come up again. It has. It always does. We have a tenacity that we can overcome, and life does this. If I ask anybody who's listening here, have you had good and bad things happen in your life? Of course you have. Everybody has. But it's how you deal with it. And remember, these things are external. You have to keep them away, not getting inside of you. Because if they do, they will tear you down. So you've got to somehow build the shield that I mentioned. And that shield is made up by being around positive people, listening to Jono and people like him, so that you're getting this positivity to lift you up and rise above all this negativity that's out there. You have to keep positive, and that's how you do it. You immerse yourself with all good stuff. There's great stuff on YouTube. There's great books out there that you need to feed your mind on, and programs like Jono's. If you can tune in on that, then do so, because he's always upbeat and positive. So you do need to do that.
and then I listen to David Goggins to keep me motivated.
What you do, we all need it. We all need it.
Well, I draw from inspiration. Because motivation, like you mentioned, we always have this little up and down, and we can't. It's hard to sustain. So I choose to draw out from inspiration, which goes inwards. So it's more about what am I grateful for today? What am I here to create? Who am I showing up for? It was most important part. I mean, like even tonight, like we're showing up for the people on my Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, anyone that's watching outside. We're showing up for you guys to put on this on because we know how miserable it can be, especially media. News 24/7, talking about the same thing on and on, and it's no different. It's from any other years. It's just the topic's different. But if we looked at past years of news, it's always been about buildings being blown up, people dying, floods, disasters, fires, whatnot, right? It's the same things, just a different time, different area, different news, different reports. But what we can control is what goes on in our own lives. Who we could show up for around, who we can be around with today, whose relationship are we building with today, who we surrounding ourselves with, who we're listening to. Like Tony said, listen to more positive people, more inspirational people who pull you up instead, and surround yourself with more like-minded individuals who can draw out the good times from the bad times.
Absolutely. And you're right in what you're saying. You've got to keep that in touch. You've got to keep that positivity around you, because more often than not, I tell you why. You know why the news is negative? Does anyone actually know? One of our listeners listening in. The news is negative because it's things that happen rarely. Now, I have to stress that, rarely. And that's why they focus on it, because 99.9999999% of the time, nothing happens. It's just an ordinary life that most people lead. But when you get that tiny little thing that's not normal, they jump on it and report it. Go, oh, look at this. And because it's at the forefront of our mind, because we see it in the media, we think it's more common than it is, but it's not. It's crazy. And so that's why you have to temper what you let in. And the media, unfortunately, is very negative. If you let it in, you start to believe, that everything around us is bad, when in reality, it's not as bad as we're made to believe. And you have to be sensible enough to detach from that and realize, look, that's just news that they're talking about because they're trying to sell papers, or they're trying to sell adverts, because they're commercial entities. They have to draw people to them, and that's hence why this negative stuff's there, because it draws people to it. So you have to sort of move away from it. Kara. I have watched that. Have you watched it, Jono?
Yeah, I have watched The Social Dilemma.
Yeah.
What did you think of that, Tony?
I thought it was a great program, actually, and it makes you. I mean, I knew to a degree what they were doing, because all social media, not just FB that was mentioned in here, they monitor everything that you do, how long you take to read, how long you take to look at pictures, and it's there. It's a way of control, because they know everything about you. And yes, they can try and manipulate you and suck you in. And I know my kids, for instance, they're constantly on social media, and it's very hard to detach from that. But you got to put it's a perspective here again. If you have your phone, where's my phone? I can't even show you. Oh yeah, you have your phone. You have the power to just go, there you go. I'm not touching it. Don't bring it in the bedroom. Leave it to one side. Yes, you're allowed to look at it. Don't sort of go cold turkey, but don't let it dominate you. There's a whole world of life out there outside of that thing. But loads of people are sort of so entrenched in their phone that they they can't live without it. It becomes a bind. So yeah, Kara's put a note in: negative news gets eyeballs and attention. That's exactly what we've been touching on. It draws the eye because it doesn't happen to us. It's look at that news. Oh my goodness. So you want to know about it. But the problem is you'll fall into a trap. If you get sucked into knowing about it, you're going to know more and more and more negative, and that negative will have an adverse effect on you. Now, there's nothing wrong with listening to that, but you've then got to counter it with positive. You've got to keep the balance, but in fact, you need more positive than negative. You always need more positive. So you've got to hang around the right people, listen to the right sort of audio podcasts from positive thinkers or videos. There's loads of good stuff on YouTube if you look properly. That's all positive stuff. Again, I'll say it shows like Jono that talk about positive stuff. This is all good for you because that will then make you feel better, and then you can take your positivity and share it with those that aren't positive and try and lift them up too. Sorry, I'm wobbling on here, aren't I?
I was going to add to it, like the whole social dilemma show series. I knew about what social media does and how they manipulate and algorithms anyway, from the technical background of digital marketing and knowing what the purpose of the platform does, which is why in digital leadership that I talk about with my clients is that we're all in the age of modern technology, the use of social media, the use of technology, digital world. We've got to be mindful and our intentions on how we use these platforms and these tools and technologies to leverage and enhance our lives, not control our lives.
Yeah.
And that is the most important part of being in this world right now, is be intentional with what you're using, be mindful of how you're using it, and what purpose are you serving with it. For me, the whole social media, why I show up, the shows, the content, the quotes, and all that sort of stuff is used because I want to inspire more people, influence more people, create more impact, and leave the world a better place than I found it.
Brilliant.
That's my intention for social media. That's why I show up. It's great to have so many engaged viewers and people that I connect with, and many friends that I've connected with across social media has been amazing because I wouldn't have met otherwise. I would be surrounding still with people in negative areas or work or college or school, whatever. I'm not saying they're bad, but they won't be doing the things that I'm doing. Like they won't be in entrepreneurship because they're not. Some maybe, some may not, but you just get to meet and connect with so many people, and having shows like this, Tony, like I know you're not too far away from me anyway, but to be able to do this at this time of night is something that we probably wouldn't think of previously. It would be like, oh, let's just go home and call it a night, right?
Absolutely. It does give, it's an enabler. It allows us to do more, but it's a tool, and you have to treat it just as a tool, not that it then takes over your life, as you've said. It's just to enable you to do things that you wouldn't be able to do normally. However, it's you've got to treat it with the respect that it is, because it can swamp you. It can take over. You can be on it for hours, as kids often are. So you've got to be able to differentiate and make sure that, that's my time done. I've said I'd only give 20 minutes now, down. I'll do it again in maybe 3 or 4 hours time. What's the urgency of being on it all the time? Let's be honest. What is it? Yeah, if you've got an important business deal you've got to close, absolutely, but there's a reason why you're on it. But if it's just to pass the time because you're bored and let's look at this feed and see what's going on, no, put it down, go do something else instead. Talk to a friend, pick up the phone. If you're going to use the phone, talk to someone. That's better than actually just watching through the stream and just letting it waste your time away. So yeah, you've got to be mindful about the tool. It's a good tool if used properly, but yes, don't let it seduce you, and that's a good word.
Tony, you given Ian a business idea apparently.
Do you want Ian? You got to share now.
That's it.
I hope he hasn't left and gone away and put it into practice already.
Yeah, he's already implementing it already. Knowing
Well
Ian,
done. If I've managed that, then that's good.
knowing Ian, he probably would. He's an action taker.
Wonderful, wonderful.
He would literally. The thing what I noticed about the news as well, they're really great storytellers.
Well, that's the key, isn't it? Once you tell someone a story, they've gripped you and you're hooked, and that's the whole point.
They're really great storytellers. Even headlines is.
Oh, bless you,
Captivating.
Cara. Yeah, you'd never do that. You never do that. You'd never make people feel abandoned if you're not on there 24/7. No, because they'd appreciate you more when you are on there, as opposed to feeling obliged to be there. You don't have to be. They understand. They know it's a platform. They're not going to get upset. Oh my goodness, Cara hasn't liked my post. You can like it when you're doing it later. You don't have to be obliged to be there all the time, to constantly let it take over your life. You just need to access it on your schedule, not on the system's schedule. And that's the key difference. You choose when you pick it up, not when you feel obliged. Oh my goodness, I've got to then do this. No. That's not the case. You're in control, not the medium.
Maybe that's why I lost so many friends. I haven't been liking their posts because they're not showing up enough.
It's strange, isn't it? But you don't get. Do you feel satisfaction when people like your posts? It's strange, isn't it? The Facebook and other social media platforms have tapped into that, as you know, Jono. They know that we get that dopamine effect when people like our posts, and we feel, oh, that's great. I feel valued. Ooh. But you're special anyway. You don't need someone to press a button on a box to say you're valuable. You're valuable anyway. And if you appreciate somebody, just liking their posts is just a superficial thing. If you really like them, send them a proper message. Say, hi, how are you feeling? I'm here for you if ever you need me. Do you know what? That makes far more difference than just pressing a like. So that's how you can tell. If you feel you could reach out to them and actually send them a message, or even, God forbid, pick up the phone and actually talk, then that counts more than just pressing a like. A like is just a superficial thing.
Well, here's what I have been doing, actually. I've been doing more video messaging instead, Tony.
Sorry, say that again?
I've been doing more video messaging.
Oh, yeah?
So instead of doing voice notes and typing a text, is just record a video.
Wow, that's a good idea.
Like a personal one, like, hey, Tony, long time no speak. How are you doing? Like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It takes only 5 seconds, right? It only takes 5 to 10 seconds.
I like that.
And if you really cared about someone, you would make the effort. You probably, like you said, call them.
Yeah.
But just in case they are in a meeting or at work, make a personal video and say, hi, how's it going?
That's a really nice idea. I like that. I really like
Even like all platforms now, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, they all got the video function. You might as well use it. It's not like they're charging you per video anymore.
Yeah,
like used to. They did, didn't they? Used to text message video, like 50p a video message. Gosh, or pound for video message. Now it's just like record at the thumb of your tap seconds.
Yeah.
Instagram.
No, it's true. That's a really good idea. I like that idea, actually. Video message people, even for short 5-10 seconds. That's really nice. Instagram, it's more personal, Messenger. Isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that. I'm actually making a note of that, you see. Always make notes when you hear something good. I've got a massive notebook and I put it online of all good ideas. And I think that's a super one. So I'm making a note of that. Send video message.
Constantly jotting notes. I've got a big book for it. I'm constantly jotting things down if there was any need for it.
Absolutely. No, fantastic idea. I like that. I really do.
Cara said, likes used to matter when I was 20, but now it doesn't affect me. I worry about the younger generation. Yeah, absolutely. The younger generation wouldn't understand it as much because they're not as self-aware. Some
Mhm.
may be. Oh, don't get me wrong. Some are quite very self-aware about how intentional things are and what's working and why they feel the way they do. But there is a lot of younger kids in that generation that won't understand it and would be chasing like the vanity metrics. That's why Instagram got rid of it, because it was causing so many it caused a lot of suicides and a lot of
What
mental.
what have Instagram done? Sorry to interrupt. I wasn't aware of this.
Well, it caused a lot of suicides because people were having mental breakdowns
Because of the
about
likes in
because
Instagram.
of the likes and vanity metrics and not getting the attention and the validation.
Hmm.
So because they only get like 5 or 10 likes or not even a like when they post a picture, it was causing them stress, mental illness, it's in well, yeah, mental illness and emotional roller coaster,
Hmm.
like not being able to control their own emotions and all sorts. So they were right to take it away.
So
They
what have
had a
they
lot of
replaced it with? Have they replaced it with anything, or just literally
it's still
taken it
there.
away?
You just can't see it.
Oh, I
Well, you can see
see.
you can still see. I think as people don't see your like count.
Hmm.
I think you still see some of it or some sort of thing. I can't remember what the algorithm is.
Hmm. Okay,
It's
that's
so other
interesting. I
people
wasn't aware
can't
of
see.
that
I
with
think it's other
Instagram.
people can't see the like count, like something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because usually,
Interesting.
like, you would go on a photo and it will say like 5,000 likes or something,
Yes.
and you're like,
Yes.
why is that? Why has that photo got 5,000 likes and my that's exactly the same has got two?
Oh dear.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
shame,
the
isn't it?
sort of comparison
Yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah.
that kind of killed.
But
Well,
the thing is, you've hit it on the head. The word there is comparison, and this is what does a lot of people in. It's like we we're terrible as human beings. We really are. I mean, you could enter a room and there's other people there, and literally you are in your mind, you're sizing people up, especially when you don't know them. You're looking around and going, "Oh, look at them! Oh, he looks good. Wow, she looks amazing." And you're doing all this, and then what you do is you reverse psychology on yourself. Oh my God, I should have washed my hair this morning. Okay, not maybe I shouldn't in this case, but you know what I mean. You'd look at yourself and you say, "Oh no, but I should have dressed differently. I should have worn that other top or something like that." And then you think, "Oh my goodness, I don't look good. Oh, my teeth are bent," or "Oh no," and you start criticizing yourself. And you only looking at that other person from the outside. You're only seeing an out exterior thing, and they look good, they smell good. You think, "Oh, look at them," because they don't know what's going on in your head. You're knocking yourself down. But I guarantee you walk in that room, everybody's looking at you going, "Oh, wow, don't they look good? Look at me. I look a mess today." So it happens to everybody. Everybody's doing it. They're always putting themselves down and lifting everybody else up. When in reality, the other people are looking at themselves and they're lowering themselves and putting themselves the other way around. So it works in reverse. The only people it doesn't affect are people who are arrogant. They're the ones that think they're better than anybody else. But deep down, personality, they are lacking in a big way. So the way they deal with it is they think they're better than everybody else, when in reality, nobody likes them at all. And they're easily spotted from miles away. So they think they're great. "Oh, look at me, I'm wonderful." But everyone can see through them and go, "Oh, God, what a horrible person." So it's something to be aware of when you do this. When you walk in a room, do not put yourself down, because everybody else is having this same internal battle. So don't be affected by it as best you can.
it's also the language they use as well. I noticed this one. The language they use is something like they talk down on other people,
Yes.
and that's a sign of insecurity
Mm,
because they're trying to be bigger than the other person.
correct.
So that's a big sign. I learned this quite a few years back after going through social events. It's like, It's like it's always this similar person as well, or
Yep.
similar personalities. Such like they must be going through a lot in order for them to talk down on someone and to project all this hatred and negativity and toxicity to other people
Mm-hmm.
in order to make themselves feel good.
Yeah. The
So
thing is, your thing is that they've got the problem. They have the problem, and their way of dealing with it is attack. And they they have to keep themselves safe because they can't deal with critique and criticism from anyone else. So in order to not be subjected to that, they turn it round pretty early on and attack others and try and bring others down, because that way they're not facing scrutiny and be picked, that their holes can be picked in them. They use it as an attack, which is a form of defense, but they bring other people down, and they're not nice people. And it's just the way it is. It's just life. People are out there like that. You get good, you get bad. It's just people, and circumstances affect them in different ways, and they respond in different ways. You can only be in control of you. You don't need to be sucked into any of these weird personality traits that these people show. You have to be the best version of you and be right in your eyes. Never put anyone down. Be the best you can be, of course, but not by putting others down. You lift others at the same time, and you will rise up too. What's Cara put? Cara's put another message.
Be more kind, is how I say it.
Is a factor when it comes to modern friendships. Well, it is a factor. I mean, it can be. It's if used properly, it's great. Of course, it is. John has already mentioned it. You can do wonderful things with social media. Yeah, you can, by reaching out to loads of people. But these people who, like Cara has mentioned here, if a friend never supported you publicly, but they were always messaging you in direct message, wouldn't it affect you? Well, it depends on what they're saying. It really depends on what they're saying. If they're supporting you in private but never publicly, that's because they don't feel comfortable with doing it publicly. But it depends on what they're messaging you. Do you see what I mean? If they're because you haven't said what they're messaging you about, what they're actually saying. If they're being negative in a direct message, then why are you even connecting to them? Cut them off. I mean, why? Why subject yourself to something negative like that? Sorry, cut off. That's the beauty of social media. You can cut people off, can't you? In real life, face to face is harder, but on social media, it's easy. Just go unfollow or delete or unfriend, whatever it is, and that way you can do it. So I don't understand that. If someone's giving you a hard time on social media, do not waste your time. Just get rid of them. Sorry, bye. You need to socialize with people who lift you up, that make you feel good, not people that try and bring you down. They can't be a drain on your life. You need to, you can try and help them in the beginning, but if they don't want to be helped, and some people don't, you have to say, look, I'm sorry, bye. And that's the only way, because you also have to protect yourself. Once you're at a level when you're strong enough that you think, you know what, I'm confident in me, I feel good in my ability, then you can reach back out to them and maybe try and help them because you're strong enough to do so. But in the early days, don't do it. If it's draining you and bringing you down, no, sorry, you need to cut them out. You don't need that in your life. And it sounds a bit harsh, but you don't.
I love that because that's something I do.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, if you're in my circle and you don't support me in what I do, that's cool. But don't be alarmed if I don't associate with you any longer. If I don't like your stuff, if I don't speak to you, it's because you don't support me. So, but that's mutual agreement. But if it comes to the party where someone's trying to drag me down, it's like, and there's no positive feedback or any critical feedback or improvements in the criticism, then it's like you're just trying to drag me down. There's no point.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, my screen's gone. What's happened here?
Your screen's gone?
Yeah, I've lost you. Where have you gone?
We are all here. Yeah, I can still see you.
I can still hear you. I can still hear you. But I've lost you on the screen. Where's the screen gone? How bizarre. Where have you gone?
Alt tab, Tony. Alt tab.
Yeah, I'm alt tabbing. I'm alt tabbing. Where's it gone? How strange. It just disappeared. It just almost like it just cut out. The picture just cut. I can hear you, but I can't see anything. How very strange. Keep talking. I'll find you.
No worries, Tony. I'll just keep
Oh,
thinking. Is there
bizarre.
any other questions that
No, I can still talk. Obviously, you can still hear me, but I just can no longer see you. What has happened? It's like the platform has just cut, or the tab has gone.
Your window's gone as well.
Yeah. How bizarre. Can you still see me, can you?
Yeah,
So
we
my
can still
camera's
see
still
you.
working.
We can still hear and see you.
Still here and see me. I just can't see you or any messages or even the whole screen. I wonder if I have to go back in again and open a new tab.
That's right, Tony. I'll read out the messages to you.
Okay.
So Ian has asked, Tony, you mentioned on the TNT radio show you covered risky topics.
I'm back.
Oh, wow.
Right. Risky topics. What are these? Can I plug my show, Jono? Are you
Go
all
for
right?
it, Tony. Go for it. Absolutely. Yes. Feel free.
I can't put it in here. I can't put it as a comment, can I? No, I'll have to read it out. But if you go to,
let me try and find it. TNT.
Well, if you just do the TNT talk show, the TNT talk show, then you should find us on Google. We should be there. I don't know if anyone wants to try it while we're on air. You can try it. It should work.
Ooh.
The TNT
talk show, Tony Fasulo.
Yeah, it should be Tony Fasulo, and it's on Buzzsprout. The first one will come up with Buzzsprout or Facebook. You'll find us. If you go to Buzzsprout, you should see all the previous episodes.
I've got it. I'll paste it.
Yeah. So, you can see me. Yes. So, Ian, if you have a look, yeah, there you go. Jono's posted it in the comments. Chat. Yeah, those are our shows, that are recorded shows. But if you happen to tune in to 105.5 FM, it's Seclo Radio. We are on a Sunday evening from 11 p.m. We are on quite late because we talk about adult-themed topics.
Ian's in the USA, so he's all right.
Ian's in the USA. Okay. That would work for you, but yes. If you're in the USA as well, then yeah, we do cover some of the topics about the USA as well. So by all means, have a look at past podcasts, see what you think. But if you want to tune in to a live show, then yes, we're on a Sunday evening at 11 p.m. UK time.
I'm still not sure what topic I want to talk about if I was to come on.
Yeah, we tend to talk about, because our show is a debate show, really, and it's quite controversial. And my partner in crime on the show, his name's Teo. He's quite controversial. We have differing views on a lot of things. So I don't
know what I'm about. Can I talk about aliens?
We talk about aliens, yes. We did a show on that before. We are actually going to do another one soon.
We join in for aliens.
You can come in for that if you want, by all means. We're always looking for
That'd be fun.
Yeah. We actually did a show recently where we had some guests on, where we talked about whether online dating sites are actually bad for relationships. Whether
we talked about that too.
Yeah.
Last Friday. About apps, dating on apps.
Yes.
That was one we talked about.
Yeah, we covered that as a show as well. And we had guests on the show as well, because there were some people obviously for and against the subject. And sometimes the debates get a bit heated, but it's part and parcel of the show, and people tune in because of it. So yeah, it's good fun. We got no animosity. It's just all shows. That's fine. But the alien one, yeah, we definitely discussed that in fair detail when we went in, but we are due another show because we've had some of our listeners say, when are you going to do another one on UFO?
Oh, I'll join in for that one.
Okay. All right. Well, we can get you on, Jono. Sure.
That'd be fun.
Because Teo is not into UFOs at all. He does not believe them. He really doesn't think they are anything at all. He thinks they're the military, period. So that's it. In his eyes, it's just black and white. Military, that's it. Yes, they can be unidentified, but it doesn't mean they are space faring aliens. So that's his end of his subject. So we've had some healthy debate because he's trying to debunk some of the things that I've come up with. But anyway,
How
we're
about
digressing. Kara's put another question on. Do you have any healthy tips on how to disagree with someone without ruining your friendship? That's interesting. Very good question, actually. If it was a true friendship, you should be able to talk frankly to one another. That's
I
an
agree.
interesting one, isn't it?
Absolutely agree.
And also, they would take whatever you have to say, as long as it's not hurtful at them as an individual. You actually have to mention the act that they've done. Never mention the individual. Always, if you have to give some sort of feedback or critique, is never aim it at the individual. Aim it at the action that they did, not them, because the action is apart from the person. If you've got a gripe with somebody and you're telling them, "Oh, you're an idiot, you're a fool," that's not good. You're attacking them personally, and you may not want to do that because that will put wedges between your relationship. But if they've done something that you don't like, you don't criticize them, you criticize the act. And you say, "Look, this is out of character for you. This is not something I expected you to do. That thing over there, that was the problem I had, and this is why I didn't like it. Explain your reasons. It's not you I'm aiming at. I'm aiming at the act. It's out of character for you if it is." And that way you are not attacking them. You're mentioning you don't like what they did or didn't do, as the case may be, so that you are not making them feel bad in any way. You are just telling them how it's made you feel. So that's a softer way of doing it, as opposed to say, "Oh, I didn't like what you did, mate." That sort of attitude. That's a terrible way of addressing people. I'm not saying you do that, Cara, of course not. But do you know what I mean? It's being aggressive or being too soft. It's not. It's actually you're picking out the act as opposed to the individual. I hope that was useful.
Oh,
What did you say? My friend said he didn't believe in interracial children. I attacked him by calling a blockhead. I should have handled it better. Yeah, probably there.
yeah, I was very direct.
Oh, you made me laugh there, Cara. I didn't mean to laugh in that respect. But yes, you see, you've realized that yourself. You used the wrong words there. But that's emotional. Your heat of the moment, you reacted. And that's the thing that us humans have to be mindful of. Our emotions get the better of us. Our emotions are wonderful things. Don't curb your emotions, because that's what makes life fun. Your humor, your passion, your love, your excitement. This is all the froth and bubble of life. That's emotional. However, you still have to be mindful not to let emotions get in the way when it's a real serious topic. You have to dampen it down and step back, take a breath before you respond. And it's responding rather than reacting. Reacting is emotional. You're doing it without thinking, "Oh my goodness." Whereas when you're responding, you're letting your brain engage and you're answering in the right manner, like what I said to a few moments ago, where you criticize the act, not the individual. But unfortunately, Cara, using the words you use, which is blockhead, not really conducive with making that person feel good, despite the fact he said what he said. It could have been a lapse of thought. It could have been in a moment and not really meant it. You've just fueled the fire by calling him what you did. But really, It's not reacting to that word. It's being measured, and then respond appropriately in a sensible, unemotional manner. That way you then don't create the wedges and cause conflict.
Yeah, the most favorite communication quote that I ever heard and lived by is still by Stephen R. Covey.
Oh, go on.
Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. Most people listen with the intent to reply.
Absolutely.
And that was just drilled into me since I ever read and heard that quote read out. And that is at every point of conversation for me, is just to listen and understand what's going on before I even decide to respond. Hey, Ick, brother, what is the theme topic tonight? Motivation, communication, aliens?
We can talk about aliens if you like.
Aliens is a good one. I was going to ask you, Tony, do you know anything about Mount Kailash?
Mount Kailash. Mount Kailash. No, I don't.
Ick
spell
would know
that.
this
How do you
one.
spell it?
Mount Kailash is also known as where Shiva lives, the god,
Oh, right.
which I was going to talk about on the show.
Okay.
Kind of trying the Hindu god Shiva.
Yeah.
Ick would love this one.
Okay. So why can't we bring that up on the show?
Well, I'm not saying you can't bring it up. I'm just saying it would be a nice one to bring up.
Oh, I see.
Because,
I mean, I don't know about Mount Kailash, and I don't know the reasons behind it. What's
so Mount Kailash is
Kailash?
the home of Shiva.
Yeah.
And apparently, at a certain amount of height of climbing, apparently you would never make it up to the peak or something because it's got surrounded by some sort of weird energy. And most people either disappear or die before they even get up any further for some reason.
So where's this, in India or?
I think it's India. Was it China? I can't
Forbidden
remember.
others that others are restricted to go up. Now, is that? I mean,
yeah, it's also a restricted zone, so no one's really allowed to go there.
Okay. Who's controlling that zone? Who's restricting it though?
I think it's China. Well, I don't know actually. No, India, China. He probably to tell us. He knows more about Mount Kailash. I think it is China.
Right. So is it China when it's forbidden? Himalayas. Okay. Right. So if people are restricted to go up, then if it's a government stopping you going up, then obviously they're hiding something.
What are they hiding?
Indeed. I don't know about the dying. If you're dying, either you're shot. I don't think it's the surroundings that's doing that, unless there is something alien there that could be affecting people in a weird way, which I'm not sure about. But if people are forbidden to go up there by the military, for instance, then yeah, they're hiding something as opposed to something else. It's interesting, that one, because you have to apply Occam's razor to that. Do you know what Occam's razor is? Have you heard of Occam's razor? Yeah, Occam's razor is basically the least what's the word? The least I'm trying to quote it now. Okay. If you've got too many ifs and buts in the statement, it's unlikely to be that. The simplest answer is normally the correct one. That's what Occam's razor is basically alluding to. So when someone says, if they give you a conspiracy theory, it's this, it's all that, it's because people haven't got the right answer. So they're looking for answers, and they'll grab them from wherever they choose. And the ones that sound feasible, they can take on board. And if you've got no point of reference, the first one that sounds reasonable, you take on board. Oh, that's the best one. Yeah, it must be that. But in reality, you need to look at it again, emotionless, no emotions, like Mr. Spock, Vulcan, no emotions. Look at it logically. And Occam's razor is basically saying that. Look at it logically, strip emotion away, and look at it objectively, as if you just literally had to report on it, nothing else. What's the likeliest outcome? What is it? Is it that people are dying, or is that rumor? Where's the bodies? Okay, or is it just people are captured and hidden away? That's separate. It's more likely to be the military or some humans stopping people climbing up there. Now, yes, on the odd occasion, it could be some outlandish story linked to it. But on the whole, Occam's razor is a good rule to follow, because it's basically looking at things in a non-emotional manner and looking at the most probable likely outcome is generally the truth. So, it's just a different way of looking at it. But I'm still saying that I will still talk about aliens because it's always fun.
if when you get a chance to, go on YouTube and look at Mount Kailash and Shiva.
Yeah, I've written it down. I've actually written. I'm quite interested in that.
And you get to see some of the conspiracy videos that people come up with. It's quite fascinating.
Do you believe in aliens, Kara's put? How did you come to that conclusion? I'll tell you what happened to me. Can I tell a quick story? Would you let me tell a quick story? Now, this is really, really, really bizarre. And I'm not a believer of aliens as such, but my mind's open. I'm not closed-minded to it, because you've got to sort of think, because someone said to me, "Oh, Tone, how can there be aliens? Look at the distances on the universe. It's ridiculous. Nothing could travel that far, and it would just be daft." On the surface, that is true, because even our galaxy alone is enormous, absolutely enormous. It takes the light 100,000 years to cross it, speed of light, just our galaxy. Forget other galaxies, that's even further, just ours. So 100,000 years is just silly. However, we are using man-made laws to determine that. And we can be a bit arrogant in that respect. We can say, "Oh yeah, there's nothing out there." That's a bit arrogant. You've got to keep an open mind. You've got to say, "Yeah, true. We haven't seen anything categorically true, alien-like yet. But that doesn't mean there isn't anything out there. We don't know. And that's all we can leave it as." But what happened to me, if I don't mind me telling this story, this was a number of years ago. I was driving down a country lane. I was going to work via a side road, and it was just me in the car. Bright sunny morning it was. It was about 8:30 in the morning, and I'm driving along, and there was a row of houses about 300 meters in the distance. Okay, and there was a couple of telegraph poles next to those houses, and above one of them was this thing just hovering, and it was metallic-y looking because it was shining in the sun. And I'm going, "What? Am I seeing things?" And I looked, and I'm looking, and I'm driving, I'm getting closer to it. So I'm thinking, "No, I'm done. I'm hallucinating, Tone. Don't be silly." So I'm looking away. I look back up, and it's still there. And I'm thinking, what is that thing? And it was about the size of a car, but it's above the telegraph pole, just like shiny, about the size of a car above the telegraph pole, maybe another 50 feet above the telegraph pole. And I'm going, "I'm hallucinating. This is nonsense. Look away, Tone, look away." But obviously I'm driving to where this thing is. So my heart's going, because I'm approaching this thing. And I'm like, "Oh, no, this is nuts, Tone. Am I dreaming? Come on. And I'm looking, and it's still there. I thought, "Oh my God, I'm going to be under it soon. What do I do? So I thought, right, I'm not going to go under it because that'll freak me out completely. So I thought, I know, let me just stop a bit further out and get out the car. So as I was probably about 100 feet away from it, so I could see it. And I got out my car, and I got out to the front of a car and I looked up and it was there. And then all of a sudden it just went boom. It just shot straight up like a bullet, shoom, and disappeared. And I'm like, what the heck was that? What was it? I could not believe what I'd seen. And I was actually quite scared at the time. And I didn't tell anybody about this. Nobody. For years. I've only admitted it in the last 4 or 5 years. And this happened about 25 years ago. Because it freaked me out so much, I just thought I was hallucinating. I just sort of dismissed it. Oh, that's nonsense, Tone. You having a bad day. It was, although it was bright, sunny day, sunlight, there was nothing in the sky. And this thing, the size of a car, just above a telegraph pole. So that freaked me out. And then about 7 or 8 years later, this shows how old it was. This is in the advent of the flip phones when they just come out, okay? So the photos were really rubbish. I had a similar experience at the end of my garden where I used to live. There was something in the tree. This time, it wasn't above the tree. It was just below the tree. There was something in the tree. And I thought, oh, my goodness me. Isn't that same thing again, is it? And my heart was going again. I thought, no, Tone, be brave, be brave. So I went outside with my little flip phone. I thought, I've got to take a photo of this. I've got to take a photo. So I went up and I could see it. And it was there. And I lifted up my phone. And as I took the flash, this thing went boom and did it again. And I got this blur on my phone picture. Blur. Now, I'm going to make a statement here. You know me. And I'm telling you this story. Now, people are listening. You're listening. You're probably thinking, Tone, you're dreaming, mate. You say you got even physical evidence because you've got a blurry photo. Yeah. And I'm telling you firsthand, I saw this thing. You'd disbelieve me, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Most people would. They'd go, oh, Tone, you had a bad day. What's the matter with you? However, you can ask a question. We can go, isn't religion based on people telling a story that happened many years ago? But we believe that. So why don't people believe me? And I've got some evidence, which is firsthand a blurry picture. But no one believes me, even though I saw it. It's like I was hallucinating. So I don't know what I saw. I'm not saying it was an alien. It was very strange, mind you. And it happened twice. So this is the question I put to people. Do you believe in aliens? Maybe not, because we don't have any evidence. However, there's some seriously weird stuff going on out there. And I've seen it for myself. So my book is open and receptive to see what people think.
I've always had an open mind about aliens. I really don't believe that we're the only intelligent creatures around in our universe right now.
Well, there's loads on our planet.
Well, the thing is, I believe there's more out of our planet, especially in different universities, different universe and all sorts. I mean, we can't be the only ones that's been around to do what we do and create what we create and have this life, what we call life, right? There must be something else out there that's got more advanced technology and doing more crazy stuff than we are, flying people out to the moon and different I'm sure some other people are doing the same thing. Or not even people.
I'm going to counter you as well, Jono. I'm going to counter you. Have you heard of the Fermi paradox?
The Fermi paradox? No, please tell me.
Fermi was because there was a guy called Dr. Frank Drake. He came up with an equation. I know we've diversified for motivation here, but it's an interesting topic. He came up with an equation called the Drake equation. And he basically predicted what's the probability of there being life on another planet. You can look this up. It's called the Drake equation. And he says, what's the chance? How many how many suns in our galaxy? There's this many. How many could have a planet swinging round them? There's this many. And he broke it down. And out of all, just our galaxy alone, he worked out using this formula, there should be roughly 10,000 other alien life forms at the same intelligence or greater than us, which is quite astonishing, right? But Fermi was another scientist, and he said, well, if there's all this intelligent life out there, where is it? Where is it? Why haven't we been visited? Why? If there's 10,000 going by your equation, why haven't we been visited? Because if these technologies, these alien technologies were greater than us, then they would have found a way of traveling the vast distances required in space. But equally, they didn't have to physically travel. They could have communicated or sent artificial intelligence that didn't need food, drink, or whatever in special rockets that could have traveled for thousands of years. So where are these aliens? So that's the second one. That's being subjective. You think, yeah, it's true. Where are they? Yeah, where are they? But the other question is also, us people, us, you and I on this call, we may not be seeing all that's been seen, because if there has been that has come into our into our terrestrial world, the military would have been the first to intercept it. Now, if they don't want us to see it, then we won't see it. So we're none the wiser, you know. So you have to take that as an example as well. So you've got to sort of balance the two up. Think, on one hand, is there intelligent life out there? As Jono says, probability wise, yeah, of course there is. It's got to be. But on the other hand, well, where is it then? But then, have we seen everything? No. That's why you have to keep an open mind.
Intercepted.
Indeed.
Well, it is intercepted by the military, isn't it? They're the first line of defense across
exactly. They have to be. So. Yeah, it's not us. We'd be the last to know.
Exactly. It will be the last to know. Exactly. We're governed already by the government. Let alone anything else that goes beyond our area, right?
Absolutely. Kara's put a good question. Kara, maybe they are not carbon-based creatures. Like, yeah, indeed. Maybe not. We're searching for alien life based on us, based on what we know, what we're like. So you're absolutely right, Kara. Maybe there are aliens out there, but they're not carbon-based. They're completely different. See, there's a question about octopuses, isn't there? You heard about that?
Question about octopuses?
Do you not know? Octopuses are quite distinct from all the other creatures on the planet. They don't fit in. They don't fit in the tree of descendancy. They're sort of like standalone, and they're peculiar creatures because there's nothing that looks like them. They are really weird. They've got two hearts. They're just an odd creature. And so there's also, if you search on the internet for another thing, is our octopus actually been brought in? They're not actually from Earth itself. Again, these are all weird stories, but look them up. Oh dear. Oh, isn't it another thing? Don't go down the rabbit hole. We were talking about it earlier about social media. Don't go down the rabbit hole and look at for all this stuff. You'll be
Make sure you know where your focus is.
Indeed. Do it. If you're going to do that, just set yourself a time limit. I'll do it for an hour or two, but that's it. Otherwise, you can be there all night. Oh dear.
Well, that's the thing. You could dive into this as deep as you want.
It take you into silly journeys though. So you have to be mindful about whether people are putting stuff on there that's actually, reasonable, or it's totally outlandish, and you've got to have a radar, and you've got to sort of tune it in and go, oh no, that's gone too far that way. No, come back. So it's hard to gauge where to stop and think, well, what realms of reality or what they're trying to come across actually are.
So coming back to our main topic, which was motivation, inspiration. I'm
Sorry, I digressed again.
reeling it back in. Like
Sorry, Jono.
that's it was my idea to bring up aliens, so don't worry about it. So I thought I'd reel it back in because you were talking about focus. This is a big topic because, like Ian mentioned, like in this world of negativity, we could get sidetracked very easily.
Well,
So,
yeah.
if you was to give advice or recommend any strategies or such to refocus about what they can control and what they can do in this current climate to move forwards instead.
Okay. A very simple thing, I don't know how many people do it, is to use a to-do list. Who uses a to-do list? Can I guess, put yes or no on the, put your hand up obviously on the screen, but if our guests are watching, they put yes or no, do you use a to-do list?
Kind of.
I
have a guide of things that I do, but
there's an art actually to using a to-do list so you don't get overwhelmed. Did you know that?
A list of 5 or 3.
Yeah, exactly. What you have actually, you should list down absolutely everything that you need to do. Okay, list them all down. However trivial, just put them down on the list. But then you grade them. You grade them A, B, or C. And you say, right, what is A that has to be done? B is maybe. C, well, eventually. Okay. Then split out all the A's and look on that list of A's and you think, which ones of those A's must be done today? But do not overwhelm yourself. You can only have 3 to 5 things per day. Don't do more than that because it gets overwhelming and it will actually drain you. So even though you've got your big list, you actually put it into a smaller list, which is the one you focus on. So you get those 5 things done and accomplish them. That's it. In reality, try and keep it to 3 because the others can wait. If you've got too many A's on your list that need doing now, what have you been doing? You've let it get out of hand. But you still don't tackle all of them in one day. You actually, all those ones that you think, oh my God, these are important, I've got to do them. You still have to filter that down and pick your top 3 and then put those in the list. That separate list is the ones that you focus on. So your focus is channeled in, not spread out, because that's not focus. You need to focus on a small amount and get them done. And a psychological thing is to put a cross through it once you've done it. So you actively are showing your brain that you've achieved it. So there's power in actually writing it down if you can. Now, some of you may like electronic diaries with to-do lists. They're perfectly fine too, but there's something special about having paper. Bizarrely, you write it down and then you can cross it off. It does work.
It's like a completion. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Brian Tracy's eating the frog first thing in the day. To me, I like his approach. However, I don't do it myself. I tend to put the important ones that I have to do first, not necessarily the hardest ones. Yeah, I find I get more motivation by crossing off more and then attacking the big one. Because sometimes if I've got a real big one and I've got a couple of little ones waiting behind it, I feel I'm not making the progress. For me, psychologically, just me, I find if I can get the smaller ones done and I've crossed them off, I've got, I'm on a roll here. And then I feel more empowered to attack the big one. So I do have to be careful. Yes, the smaller ones are important, but there's some psychological edge by crossing them off, because then you feel, in my case, more empowered to attack the big one. I find that with his approach, where you've got the big one first, and that's the only one you've got to attack first. I totally understand the logic that you think if you get this done, then everything's a piece of, I won't say the word, but you know what I mean? Everything's easy after that. But for me, just my personal preference, I like to get some ticks, crossed off. I think, now I can attack the big one. But whatever you prefer, still put it on the list though. The frog one, you still need to put a biggie on there. And if you can achieve a biggie, one biggie a day, well, hey, that's fantastic progress. But I do it in reverse. I still get the biggie done, but I have it almost towards the end of the day as opposed to the beginning.
Interesting. Carla also introduced the time management matrix to me.
Mm-hmm.
So the
the 4 quadrants where
4 quadrants. So you got the important, urgent,
urgent,
critical, not
important,
and
then
just there.
You shouldn't have the urgent ones ever. Urgent is bad planning. Well, it is, isn't it? Think about it. If you've made it go urgent, why have you let it go urgent? If it's outside your control, then it's not urgent, it's just important. But if you are responsible for it and you've made it critical, then there's something you've not done for making it critical.
What if someone else gave it to you as critical?
This is just important to you.
Well, what if your line manager went to you and goes, "This is urgent. It needs to be done now."
Okay. It's their criticality. It's not yours. It's just important to you to do it. Yeah. It's again psychological because you haven't caused the criticality. An outside influence has caused it. It's now become important to you to get done. So you need to get it done, but it's not critical because you haven't caused the criticality. So that's how I see it. So, if a problem becomes critical, that's normally bad planning. Normally, unless it's critical, it's a life and death. That's a different issue. That can happen, but you got to deal with that as is. But in terms of tasks, there shouldn't be tasks that are critical because that means you've been sitting on your hands and have let it fester, and then at the last minute gone, oh no, I've got to do this, and that's bad planning on your part, isn't it?
What if the CEO wanted it urgent or critical?
Well, it's still important.
and he messed up the planning, so then it's critical for everyone.
Well, possibly, but it's important for you. You've then got to get it done. Yeah, that's all it is. It becomes important. I mean, I'll give you a typical example. I had to put in my VAT, and I remember, I've got to do it. Yeah, I'll do it. Oh, yeah, I'll do it, and I forgot. And then I realized, oh my God, it has to be in tomorrow. I haven't even started it. So I started working on it. So it became critical because it had to be in tomorrow. So it became critical, but it was my fault it became critical because I kept putting it off and off and off. And I made it critical, my fault entirely. Because when it was important to be done, I should have done it, but I didn't. I let it fester, and then it became critical. Bad. My fault. Hands up. Me. So in the end, I had to drive to Southend in the UK, which is about 4 hours away from where I live, to post it. So it made sure it was at 9 o'clock in the morning so I didn't get a massive fine. Yeah, that's a good one. Remind me something my mentor said in the past. Your emergency does not become my priority. Absolutely. I used to have a thing stuck on the back of my chair, actually. It actually said exactly that, or something along those lines. It said, bad planning on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on my part. So when people wanted me to do something urgently, I'd pay, I'll do it. I'll do it for you. Of course I will. It's your problem. But I'll raise it to important on my side. So I'll get it done for you. But it's your emergency, not mine. So, but I'd still class it as important and I'll do it, but it's not critical where I'm like, that doesn't help anybody.
Awesome. Any other questions for Tony before we sign off? I'm aware of time and it's getting late for Tony.
It is. I'm going to have to lie down after this.
Well, thanks for all the questions. Anyone else got anything that's not answered? Feel free to connect with Tony as well. Don't be a stranger. He's always open to connect with new people. So
yes, absolutely. If you find me on Facebook, I'm there. My name's on the screen, Tony Fasulo. But if you go on Google and do a search for Free Your Magic, you'll find me. So Free your magic, because I'm a firm believer that everybody's got this hidden talent inside, but most of the time we're afraid to let it out. So I like to tell people, just free your magic, let it out, let it out, become the best person that you can be. Don't go to your grave with that magic still inside you. Let it out. Let the world see how good you really are, because you can make a difference, not just for you, but to everybody you touch in your life. You will permeate out and you will raise people to achieve far more. And it's all down to you to make that difference. And you can make that difference by freeing your magic.
I wish I had that.
What do you wish you had? What? Yeah.
I wish I had that talk when you first approached me. You can do this, Jono.
Of course you can. Everybody can. And I'm going to do what that guy said to me. I'm looking at all of you in your seat or wherever you're watching this. Go do something special. You see, today is the first day of the rest of your life, isn't it? You can't go back in time. No one's got a time machine. Today's the first day. So whatever you've got left in this world, you can change. It's up to you. Up to you. You can do it if you choose to do it, and you can, because you've got that hidden talent inside of you. You let that out and the world will be amazing for you and everyone you come into contact with, because you're here for a reason, and that reason you will know inside, but you need to let that magic out. Free your magic and you'll soar. Thank you.
I love that, Tony. It's just because I know for you what you've done for me, and that's what's already said to everyone already. But what you meant, yeah, how you pulled me out from a shy kid to the speaker and the host I am today, means a lot to me, by the way. I really appreciate it, and always thank you for your support and your help and assistance, and your constant positive feedback is what drives me, and your energy as well is so infectious. It's something that I just inspires me to keep stepping up to do what I do. Right? Yeah. Every time I'm feeling nervous, I'm just like, if this was Tony, Tony would go, "You got this. You drive this. You just do it."
You have, though. You have. That's the beauty of it. You have. This is what I love about it, because you've come from that shy individual that was sort of a bit unsure, and now you've blossomed into this public speaker, this positive person who's also got energy, and you're inspiring other people. And I love that. And I haven't done that. You've done that. You've done it. All I did was nudge you along. You had the talent, and that's what's blossoming now. And I love it. Love it.
It's your constant nudging that helped. So thank you again. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it useful. Any comments for Friday nights is love and relationship topic. So any questions about love and relationship, please feel free to jump on. I know Tony has been a very long term in marriage as well, and he's got a lot of his experience to share. So maybe we could bring on Tony again at some point.
Indeed. I'd love it, actually. Yes. I've enjoyed myself. Thank you again for inviting me onto your show, Jono. It's a great format. I love it. So thank you again for having me on.
Thank you for being an amazing mentor to me. Thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you.
Speak soon.
Bye everyone.